Hello and welcome to Paint the Edges with your hosts James Mack and James Thayer. Um, dude, am I imagining things? The Riverside Countdown, did that start on a higher number than usual? Did you see that?
I wasn't paying attention.
Yo, dude, I swear that started on the Riverside does the count. Is it a 3-2-1 countdown or a 5-4-3-2-1?
It was 5 today, I thought.
It definitely was 5 there, dude. I reckon Riverside. If obviously we were funny. We were talking like parts of this now. Like I now own a tech business. Whatever. Fucking, I'm involved in tech in some shit. This meathead thing is now involved in tech. If I were Riverside, I'd fuck with people all the time like that. Just for shit.
Change that.
Just change it every now and then. Just be like, just see the panic on like my face. Because as I started that, I was like, hold on, why is that taking? Because usually, like, I have a whole routine. Like, I grab the stabby thing and like grab the nicotine. It's like, all right, cool. That's what can we do off the back end of this? And I was like, hold, why is that taking longer? Like, that's why I asked. I was like, I swear they've changed something.
Maybe it's just more you're hyper aware right now. We were talking about
I'm like in this like weird anxiousness this morning, and not like I said to you, it's like I'm not like anxious like a pussy. Like I'm not like I don't feel like
you've had to be very reactive, which
Yes.
you go out of your way in painstaking measures not to have to react to things. You actively pursue out what could go wrong, so you can be proactive. So the fact that you're being tossed in a blender every week or so and having to react, I understand why the anxiety is a little high. You essentially technology is giving you PTSD.
You know what? That's exactly what's fucking happening. You're right. You just diagnosed me there. The therapist Thayer for the day.
Hyper aware where you're fixating on number countdowns into recording.
Oh man, that's exactly what's just happened. You're actually spot on in terms of that. That's where that came from. That's where I was like, all right, I'm gonna get some nicotine, and I was like, I don't know if that's a good idea right now.
Like Mac has looked into the Matrix, and now all he sees is code.
Just 200s and 308s. Those are the two numbers that I've been like focusing on over the last 4 weeks or something like that. And if I don't see 4 200s and then a 308 and then a 200, it's like I panic. I immediately go into full fucking panic, just straight up. Oh, but yeah, I had like a whole. No, I didn't have a whole thing, dude. I was excited to have a monster this morning because I went for my coffee. Went down to go get my coffee, and the fucking lady burnt my coffee this morning. So I've had this like shit bitter coffee taste the whole morning. And then I was like, well, do I risk having another coffee and getting another one burnt, or do I go with the safe option? White Monster to the dome. Look, 7:30 in the morning. Like I know you're a monster guy in the morning, but 7:30 in the morning is like I don't know. I feel like sometimes it's pushing it. Look, I've been wanting a coffee since like 7. So like, let's be honest. I was tempted to have the monster at like 7 a.m., which again, it's painful. It's a painful start in terms of that. It can only it can get better. It could get worse. Good white monster, cold monster in the morning at 7 is good. And then I wanted it, and then I was like, but that anxiety is sitting there. That if I just ramp up like nicotine, I've just taken my 3-foot world as well, so I banged down some 3-foot world, and then add a coffee or a monster on top of this. Plus, I still need to go train. I'm like, ooh, am I gonna be okay? Like, is this a smart move, or should I just
with the edge today?
Yeah, no, not even like with the edge. Like I'm on the blade.
Yeah,
like I'm literally dancing on.
We're past the edge. We're just tight roping.
Oh, one strong breeze, and I'm just gonna be fucking tickets. Yeah, dude, it's one of those days. When last did you have one of those days? It's been a while.
It's been a while since I've had one of those days. As we were talking before, I got put in a blender this morning too. So hopefully Hopefully that helps ease you a little bit.
It's your blender and my blender. Like yours is physical pain, mine is emotional pain. That's, that's the difference right now. It's like I'm emotionally scarred, and you're just like my hips are fucked. Like I'm done. I'm done. I'm over this.
Yeah, so
Ugh.
our mornings were very, very different. So in the evolving saga of new experiences that I've had in my role as assistant director of fitness programs, this semester we got in brand new cycle bikes. So for any recreation center, any studio, any gym, huge purchase order because we replaced 20 bikes for our studio. We got, I think it ended up being like 26 maybe because we have some in the other studio, some upstairs, but in our
So this is like
actual,
for the like a spin class, correct? Like when you say
yes,
cycle bike. Okay,
yes.
cool. All right.
Um,
Instructor led spin class. Or
Absolutely.
do you guys do the virtual ones as well, or just
We
instructor?
don't do virtual. Yep, just in
Yeah, okay,
person.
cool.
Yeah.
Okay,
So
all right.
none of that nightmare. Um, so like big deal, and it's great because we've needed some, and it also just adds to the room. The room is aesthetically anything that you would want in a cycle room. It has it has the lights, it has the stage, it has the lights that are synced up to the music, everything that you want. So
It's a
the
party.
bikes the bikes were a needed upgrade, but with that, as technology does, it has advanced in the fitness space as well. And so the bikes that we received were through ICG, and they have a technology on them where it's coach by colors. And essentially, it's not a new technology, but it's new for our instructors. And basically we went through a master trainer led workshop that the company sent to us to go through. And so the whole morning, early afternoon was that of learning it from an app base, learning it from the website hub, actually being on the bikes, which is what got me. And from that, learning like how these can be incorporated into classes. So more on the program side, the administration side, how we're going to now take this information and be able to utilize it. So all good things. And essentially the coach by colors is kind of, if you think of zone training, but it's their own, where they use colors to distinguish what RPM ranges and effort level you're in based on information that you've put in. It'll sync with heart rate. I'll get into the FTP test here in a little bit, but essentially, like it'll go through where white is an active recovery. It goes through blue is endurance, green is tempo, yellow is lactic threshold range, and then red is past that point. And in accordance with that, they utilize energy systems to kind of be like, this is how long you should be able to maintain these. So
Interesting.
for our cycle classes, our instructors haven't used that yet. We've had the feature since January, but this is really the first time that we've had training on them. So our cycle classes are essentially built around two things. We have a rhythm class and more of a hit interval class. So the rhythm class uses cadences in music, which also I'm not somebody that did well in music and got out of it as soon as possible. So we didn't dive deep into that, but for the online testing, we had to go through, and my computer about got a hole through the face of it trying to go and work out this exam of cadences of what 32 beats in a 8 bars into four.
What?
um
Dude, are you
yeah just
fucking? Are you orchestrating? Are you is that what we're doing here? Literally creating a whole musical event.
So we didn't, luckily today, didn't get much into that, but as part of the exam test out for continued education, that was one of the sections
Fuck,
that you test out in. And
fuck
so
that.
also, so I've been a group fitness instructor before. It's been, at this point, I think I taught my last I taught my last actual group fitness class probably 7 to 8 years ago. And they were always modified for my personality because I'm not a group fitness instructor. I don't have the energy. Definitely don't have the rhythm. So anytime, like any of the classes I've taught, it was either like strength based, hit, circuit based, which is more kind of the realm I live in. But I have done cycle classes, have done yoga classes. I always say the yoga classes were more stretch and breathe, and the cycle classes were more so just like we're working in time periods rather than in cadences to the music because there's a whole beat. And again, this is another thing with training cheer and dance. I have a greater appreciation for, but it's something that I very much realize like, hey, this isn't my realm. I'm happy
It's
to
not your
stay out of it.
wheelhouse. Yeah, I'm good.
Yeah.
I'm just gonna chill out over here.
Yeah, so our classes are kind of made up of that. We have rhythm ride that is more music cadent dominant that you ride to, and it's beat per minute of the song that you kind of stay on beat with, and you plan according to of the intensities and kind of use the atmosphere and the energy of the class to create that experience for participants. And then there's the interval where it is more time duration. Now, in that, you can go um, RPM zones or like heart rate zones if they have that connected, but a lot of times it is going to be like time period based as intervals are. So with this, it combines some of that and allows you to use a visual aid also in those zones where, let's say, I'm trying to stay between 80 and 100 RPMs, that if I drop that, maybe that's my yellow zone, my lactate zone. If I drop out of that, it'll automatically switch to green. And we have front facing colors on the bike. So the instructor can see what zone everybody is in based on their bike. And that allows for encouragement and kind of gives the user a visual cue if they need to go up, if they need to go down. This can also be modified with the resistance. So maybe I'm not pedaling fast enough, but if I add resistance, it allows me to work harder and get back into that zone as needed. So that's essentially a shitty description of Coach by Color. There's more to it, but we went through this today and had a combination of like myself, had our fitness coordinator that oversees the group fitness classes. We had a um, a guest university AD come in, and then the rest were our group fitness instructors for cycles. So we had some that are going through our certification prep course currently, so like brand new into it, and we have some that have been, an instructor and at our location and multiple locations. So kind of a diversity of experience and everything like that. But yeah, so that was my morning, and what we were going through of why I'm more in physical pain than the mental pain that you were, because one, if you haven't done a cycle class, the saddles, the seat, they're tough, and I am not broken for that. So, half the time it's like just trying to find a position that's tolerable that I don't understand how at this point, I've been lifting more than 20 years in my life. How I've spent this time building and developing muscle, and yet you put me on a cycle bike and I can't find muscle to save my life. I can find my bones. And so I felt like for the 2 times that we went in and did full rides, I'm just setting on my sit bones and very, very
Just,
aware of them. And I'm also thinking to
just
myself
hammering
while
it.
I'm sweating, while I'm just trying to maintain composure in here, that if the handlebars of this cycle bike measured how much of my body weight it's having to hold up, because I'm also by far the heaviest person in this class. Easily, easily. I mean, easily by 20 pounds, but that's generous. It's probably more 30ish plus. So that was my morning or my day experience, I guess, with it. And so there were two portions that we went through. First portion was basically the instructor took us through a 30-minute class. Like, this is how I would organize a class, coaching off of the colors. And so, you go into a 10-minute workout, you go into a 20-minute like full ride with intervals, different pacings, learning about the colors, but then also, hey, we're gonna find our blues, which is a little endurance. We're gonna find our greens, it's a bit more tempo. We're gonna find our yellows, and yellow is the lactate threshold, and then we're gonna push into red for a bit. Oh, we're coming out of red. Guess what? We're going back into red. So
Fuck.
dealt with that. We left for a while. Like, went and learned about the app, because the app is great where instructors can actually build on the website or on the app. They can build out their workout based on those zones. So they can literally go and make a script on the website, copy it over, cue it in, be able to
Fair.
share that with our staff. So that, I think that'll be one of the most beneficial tools, is helping our newer instructors be able to take advantage of this and really see like how a cycle class can be scripted out based on, are we standing, are we setting, what range are we trying to be on. So really in it, has
Well, I
a,
mean, it's going to diversify your pool of individuals as well, because you could run a beginner spin class and have like a beginner templated version, or three or four of these things coming out, then an intermediate and a more advanced. And I think it's I actually like that idea quite a lot in terms of what you've just said there, from a even just from like a business standpoint, or something long term standpoint. You can actually just create transferability as well, because I think my very limited understanding of group fitness, very limited to, and especially spinning. I think, dude, I swear I've told this story before, like on RXD in the very beginnings, when we first started. So my exposure to spinning classes is, I was 17 years old. I broke my thumb, and we were in school holiday, and I yeah, school holidays, broke my thumb, and I couldn't train or anything like that. And I went to spinning classes at the local gym because the moms looked very nice. So what would happen is I would go to spin classes with the moms, and then they would take me for coffee afterwards. And that was it. I
also,
was
that's
the
how you developed your love of coffee.
and
I
that's how
see how it started to connect here.
There's a connection, but specifically the one spin class, the guy was like known, like really, really good in terms of this, was known, and he would play ABBA. That was his thing. He would use ABBA for all of his songs. Yep. And that was the kind of that was my experience. However, anyways, long story short, and kind of what I was getting at there is, I remember some instructors being more liked than others, not just from like their personality, but their style of class and like how they would create and stuff. Now, if you've got you know a an instructor who you get a lot of good feedback from like their class structure, the way he's setting it up, it's like that's a very easy thing to go to them and be like, all right, we're going to use your templates. So why wouldn't you do that and like teach the up and comings? Because then it becomes, the personality is what is going to separate them, but at least you've got like a standardized, uniform approach to the class schedules, the class structures, like all of these things coming across. I think, and like from my, again, limited knowledge, outside kind of view with it, I think that could be a very smart thing for you guys to do, as kind of like a business model, for lack of a better word.
Yeah, and I mean, with that long-term continued education, that's the thing with working in a university setting. You have to think about, education should always be at the forefront of what we're doing and how to develop, not only our develop classes for the participants, but really focus on the development for the students, for our instructors, because we're in higher education. We're trying to promote that. Um, so yeah, I see how it I see a lot of potential benefit to this. Training was well worth it, but yeah, the ability to create workouts, to share workouts, some of the free workouts that they have. Because think about that: you're an instructor that teaches 16 weeks, and you're like,
Fuck.
I need to do something
So,
different today, and you can
think
just, hey, here's the monthly workout. I'm just going to pull that today and go with it.
what
So
what was
go ahead.
the integrativeness of like heart rate in terms of everything?
Um, So the ones that had it, it was pretty seamless because so there's a monitor on the bike that'll connect to the phone
Yeah,
when you have the app open and your
yeah,
app
yeah.
being connected to the Bluetooth. So that integrates pretty well. I don't wear a device, so I wasn't able to use that feature, but it is integrated into the app through the phone that connects with the
So
monitor.
so there is there an ability for an instructor to pair these zones with heart rates, or how does that? Is that they've kind of got away from heart rate functionality and more so RPE cadence creates the zones that they're kind of working with, not necessarily the heart rate. Is that correct me if I'm wrong?
Yes, so they do those zones kind of pair with it. So to give you an example, like the because you'll go off of the traditional heart rate minus 220 to give you your upper limit.
Yeah.
There's also a test I'll speak about here in a minute that allows you to refine it a little bit, but generally they have a range that you can look at your heart rate max in comparison. So for example, if I'm looking at my tempo, that's the green zone where um, it's going to be a lot more power driven. That's going to be about 70-75% of your heart rate max. And so those colors should coordinate around your heart rate, or the percents that they list out um, will have it. So if I'm looking through, let me see, um, there's like a percent of heart rate max. There's a maximum sustained durability for each color coordination, an RPE, and a heart rate training zone. So we have like the heart rate percent, and then the zone that we want to try to operate in for for the different segment, because each color kind of has like, here's our standard, here's the more intense aspect of it to help ease the transition into other zones, or at least to get higher into it. Oh, here's the other thing, me being in that, you have the instructor where they're like, yeah, I've done all these actual cycle events. You have one of the other people, they're like, yeah, I've done several triathlons. You have somebody that's like, yeah, I just Saturday I did a half marathon. Like, motherfuckers. See,
Yeah. So
I
you
knew
just
I knew
say,
I was in trouble when everybody started putting on their special shoes.
oh, the cleats.
Yeah.
Yeah. Did they arrive with cleats and you were just in your
Yes.
like your
Yep.
tackies, your
Just
trainers?
tennis shoes. Yeah, at least I had like I had tennis shoe, like more athletic tennis shoes, not like ones with a big sole that are going to kind of limit the feedback and everything like that. But I was like, okay, this is going to
This
be
is
what it's
me.
going to be. Yeah. I'll be
This
here
is
in
gonna
the
be hell.
back.
Yeah, yeah. I'll be. Do the bikes at least have like cages on them for like people who don't have cleats
Yep.
or not?
Yeah.
Okay,
Yeah.
so
So with
cages
it,
on the
it has
bottom,
the
cleats on the
cage.
top. Okay,
Yep.
yeah, yeah, yeah. So yeah, like a standard spinning bike in terms of look. Whoever I've as much as I said, I obviously have had very limited experience with regards to spin classes, and I have done a race called Fast One in South Africa, which is a 103-kilometer bicycle race. It was where I realized that I like my testicles. Because I was on the bicycle for one of those. I probably trained a little bit beforehand and did 20 or 30 Ks at max. And then I just never got on a bicycle again because my nuts were blue for 2-3 weeks afterwards. And like some cyclist is going to laugh at me and be like, "Yeah, just get a better seat or something." How about just don't get on a bicycle? Like that's it. That's
I had
actually
two options, and
yeah.
mine was very definitive of the route that I wanted to continue.
Correct. Dude, I remember doing that race, and I've never broken my soul so much in my entire life. All right. So I was pumping it. Like I was doing well. Things were going great. Like, and it's known as being a fast race. That's called fast one. Like it's got a good head, tailwind behind you, so it picks you up on one of the back straight. And I got to so it was 105 kilometers. Don't know what that is in freedom units. Is what it is. It's far. It's a long time on a bicycle. Right. So 105 kilometers, and I got to the 90. I got to like the fuck. It was something along the. Oh, sorry. It's 100, 115 or 100 and something, whatever it is. And I got to like this marker at like 10 k's out, and the marker number had fallen. Oh, that's what it was. The markers come up, and it tells you like how many kilometers you have left. So it's got like a 10 k's till the finish, 5 k's to the finish, right? And I came up to the fucking the 15 kilometers to go, and the one had fallen down. Yeah, dude. So I had seen that 5 kilometer sign. Which wasn't 5, because when I got to and I put my head down, hammered it for 5Ks, like as fast as I could, like 40, like trying to like get up to like 40 kilometers an hour on the bicycle, just pumping it. And in my head, I was really stupid. Clearly, well, I was young and I was on a bicycle. I was stupid, clearly, because there was no crowds or anything. There was no like finish line coming through. Like now in hindsight, when you think about it, it's like. So I was going 5, and I got to this 5. And as I got closer, I saw the sign of 10 Ks to go, and I was like, fuck. Like
so you did your finish 5 and just learned, 10 more to go.
10 more to go. Dude, that last 10 was the most excruciatingly painful 10 of my entire life. I think it took me 3 times the amount of time that it should have taken me to do 10 Ks. Because I was just burnt. I had nothing left. I'd just done 100 kilometers on the stupid bicycle, burnt my last reservoir, and just was like, well, I'm done. Let's call it quits here. Bad time.
The legs just led.
Bad. Yeah. So I mean, I find it, and that's kind of why I was asking with regards to like the heart rate side of these apps. There's so many of the technological advancements that happen within group fitness. There used to be that. Safka, actually, one of one of the good South Africans that built like a fitness company. He actually lives in Dubai now. My Fitness, shout out My Fitness. They brought in the heart rate monitor technology, which you would wear your strap, or it would connect to any like a Polar strap, a Garmin, whatever you had, and then they would run their classes with like the leaderboard up in the gyms. Have you ever seen that?
Yeah,
it's like a software that they created. It was brilliant, and I think at the end of the day, we've spoken about this in a different sense, but essentially at the end of the day, all that they're doing and all that these things land up really kind of constructing is a gamified community event. And that's it. That's the psychological like advancement or the psychological kind of benefit to using technology in this way. It's like you can see the competitive side comes through. You can see these things. Now, obviously, I don't know, and I'm guessing in this case, like you can't. There isn't a leaderboard with different zones and shit. There might be like that variation of the app. I don't know, but I think that can either be very beneficial or it could be detrimental in terms of some things.
Yeah, so they have something similar. It's a higher upgraded package for the instructor, where the instructor can has a larger visual that has each individual bike on it, where they are, laps, leaderboards, races. So it's still very prevalent in the space.
What I suddenly thought about, like you guys should think of doing, and fuck, dude, you're extremely. You probably thought of things already like this already, but from like a community aspect thing, or even like your Instagram page and shit like that. do most RPMs of a person in a week. Like, surely you can pull that data from the app, or you should be able to. Like, that would be quite a cool thing. It's like, Becky did 3 classes this week, and I don't know what it tracks, but I'm sure it tracks some form of RPE, highest RPE hit, or something along those lines, to build a little bit of momentum, especially now that the guys have been trained on it after this weekend. As you said, the bikes have been in since January, but this is like the next level of how you could create maybe a bit more exposure to the system, the software, like the things going on. Like my brain's just suddenly thinking in like an advertisement campaign where you did. What did you do? You did one about a month ago or something. I think it was like the new Skierg, like shit like that.
Oh yeah,
like when you introduced it to like, it's a cool introductory way to bring it in. Cyclists love that shit. People like community loves that type of stuff. You could create competitions.
Well,
I think that could be quite cool.
Funny enough, we talked about like more of the in-person, more immediate thing that we can do, because so with each bike we've gone through and in their system given them a setting, bike one. So it's not just like outside, it's internally. So whenever it syncs with the app, with your phone, that it's syncing directly with that bike and identifying the number. So being able to do exactly that. If we want to do one, if we want to make it like random giveaways in person, like in the seat, you can be like, Siri, call out a number, and it's like, oh, whoever's on bike 12, you get a random prize. But also that's kind of competitive nature of being able to use the data and being able to either frequency of usage, certain ratings. Something else that we talked about today in this. So in the second session, we went through their testing. It was the FTP. It's functional threshold power, and essentially it's an equation that ICG they didn't patent it, but the people that created it have it exclusive to them, and so that's why they built this color thing around it, was as a testing metric to make it more individualized. And so there's 3 different ways to test it: a 5-minute one, a 20-minute one, a kind of ramp, like the old school VO2 maxing on Bruce and Bulky on the treadmills, where so they have one of those, but the other 2 are more like the ergogenic bikes that you would use in an exercise science lab. So this equation looks to incorporate that, kind of give you a standard. So now you have something that, halfway point in the semester, into the year, that you can test at an individual basis, but also be able to do it on a larger scale. Like, you could deliver what we did in this was deliver the test to the class that we were taking it.
Which would be a cool way for you guys to look at progress and track people's, like, if it, like, you could do one a month, one every 2 months or something like that, and create a challenge, or like, winter's coming up with you guys, like, or fall, whatever the fucking season it is. I don't know what year I'm in, but like, you could essentially you could gamify this entire thing, and just build a lot off of it.
Well, and especially if you think about, so the great thing about it is it could be a class in itself, and the test doesn't have to mean anything, because the parameters of it is you have to maintain 80 to 100 reps per minute to stay consistent. Basically, like, it's a color system, but the colors aren't the coach by colors. It's green, you're in the zone; red, you're out of the zone. And so through that 5-minute test period, you have to stay in the zone, which that zone is 80 to 100 meter or 100
RPMs. Yep.
RPMs and it's meant to be very loadable. So it's supposed to be pretty heavily loaded, that you're trying to maintain this pace. With that also comes a 20-minute warm up into it, which that's like
Of
the
course.
essential aspect of it, and how you could create it as a whole class is go through the 20-minute warm-up with the
Warm up.
class as a whole, and then have everybody do the 5 minute. And again, there's an advanced like 20-minute one and whatnot, but do the
Whatever.
5 minutes where it's in that lactic threshold range. And if you can't maintain, if you just stay in the red zone, hey, that's fine. You still tried, you still did it. But for anybody that is within that green zone for the duration, they get the score associated from the FTP model. And so with that, you can advance it. So if you think about classes for longtime riders, these somebody that consistently comes every single week or goes to multiple cycle classes a week, that our semesters in a university are 16 weeks. So how do you absolutely have to rely on your instructors to create that atmosphere, the energy, the engagement piece of it. But now we're giving them we're gamifying it through a testing metric that could be correlative to VO2 max testing without having to actually use a mask, because it's operating in those heart rate zones. Something else we discussed today, and this would be in coordination of pairing our personal training program area and our group fitness, but it could be an outlet for personal training clients to be able to get an aerobic score.
Interesting. Which, let's think about like comorbidity factors. Let's think about a whole bunch of other things. Like you could use that information, that data to do a lot of extra work off the back end, whether it's flagging individuals for extra attention. I think about this from like a safety aspect, or like even an upsell. And I don't want to say upsell in terms of like money, but if you've got individuals, like we know like VO2 max dictates and can determine quite a lot from those health factors. Imagine if you had like a flag system on that. If someone's VO2 max, I don't want to say wasn't where it should be, but you could gauge things off of it. You could create some form of program. You could watch them more closely. You could get, I don't know, one of the junior trainers or something to go and talk, like anything. It creates a lot of secondary and tertiary benefit usage of like, all right, do we need to bring in nutrition into this? Do we need to bring in, because like it could bring in quite a lot of dude, I suddenly think of like a health day, like a vitality day.
Yeah, because we have wellness fairs, and we
exactly
partner
like
with different groups. So there's a natural build into it, the way that we could coordinate it that'd be more expansive, but there's seeing the potential there for that. And 100%. Just with our personal training clients, that we have several that already engage in like Spartan races, that already do triathlons. They're a lot of them might be in the 40 to 60 range, like faculty and staff, retirees, but they're still active because they're a lot more health conscious now. And so this is a way in a 25-minute window that you can be able to provide something additional for them to assessment, a metric to be able to see them utilize to work off of. And anybody that's training, if any of those people that are training for triathlons, it naturally fits into one of the sections and co-promotes cycle classes.
Yeah, fuck yeah. Well, dude, I dig it. I'm interested to see how it kind of like progresses and what kind of happens from there. But who would have thought we would do a podcast on a spin class?
Yeah. So as these experiences continue, hopefully you're along for the ride. But yeah, that's what my body went through today.
Yeah. Well, on that note, guys, we appreciate you for listening. And at this current moment in time, we have 18 subscribers. Yay!
Let's go. We appreciate you.
We appreciate it. If you are listening to us on Spotify, please head over to Paint the Edges podcast on YouTube. subscribe. You can see our ugly mugs and shit like that. You don't also don't have to. But it'd be cool if you just subscribe and then listen on Spotify. It'd be cool. Other than that, guys, we'll chat to you next week.